Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Today, I'm Josh Evanoff. He is the one and only Angel Ortega. A lot to talk about this week. UFC, as always, Bkfc, boxing, and much, much more. Before we get into that, I'll talk to you guys about Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy was founded in January 2017 to be the best gaming drink in the world. Built a premium stack in the form of delicious energy and focus drink. It was designed to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and is loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. They designed Rogue Energy for the emerging professional competitive gaming market and continues to have fantastic carryover and success in students, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone looking to optimize their mental and physical performance. If you want 10% off your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. It's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Last Saturday night from the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, Islam Makhachev has finally arrived. Obviously, he was hyped up a lot going into this fight against Thiago Moises. We kind of said it in the way in that it was really kind of a showcase fight. He was 19-1. Seemingly, everybody has anointed him, crowned his ass as one of the top lightweights on the planet. But still, this is his first main event, his first real fight against a ranked guy. And damn, he showed out, completely dominating Thiago Moises and eventually getting the submission in round number 4. Angel, my man. Not really the most surprising result. But did Makhachev sort of live up to the hype in the way that you kind of expected and sort of dominating the fashion that you kind of expected going in?
I mean, there was nothing to impress me. You know what I mean? Like, we knew what needed to happen in this fight. I think if anything, in a lot of people's eyes who like already knew what he was, it was more surprising that it wasn't any sooner of a finish. He almost had it there at the end where he had was it armbar, third round? Might be wrong. Third or fourth round, third or second round. I don't remember right now at the top of my head. But in some capacity, like it's just the fact that we knew. You know what I mean? Nothing new here. We just need to keep seeing him get in another main event with another big name and just being like, hey, I'm here. Like, get me to that title shot quicker.
Yeah, man. I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, I wasn't that particularly surprised. I thought Thiago actually had. I don't know, man. I was kind of impressed with him too. I mean, he looked like a good kid in there. Some of those scrambles were fun. I thought whenever Thiago actually threw his hands, he looked fine. He had some pop in his punches. He had some good speed. But at the same time, man, was not surprised at all. Islam Makhachev, he got the win in kind of the way that we expected. Did this fight change your perception of him at all? I mean, we kind of knew going in that he's kind of. People are calling him a more complete Habib. Everybody's kind of hyping him up. Like I said, they're kind of crowning him in a way as like kind of that next future champion. And yet he's still not faced anybody in the top 14 in the division. I mean, what are your kind of thoughts on that? He's now officially ranked number 5.
I mean, did he impress? Like I tell you, it's nothing. I'm not impressed by anything yet. Like the skills are there, but once he beats like that really well established like name. Like a Justin Gaethje, a Dustin Poirier, eventually if he finds himself in the position, Charles Oliveira, even a Beneil Dariush, like those kind of like top echelon names. Because I feel like there's the guys. Let me pull up the rankings real quick. Above him, he can be pretty much all of them, but like it comes with a lot of kind of things you can point out from each guy. Obviously, Tony like hasn't looked very. Good in his last few fights, so it's kind of he's a lot older now, so it's kind of like, well, it's like that makes sense. If he's the next big thing, he should beat that guy. On top of that, who else does the RDA? I feel like he should be able to beat RDA. He's number 5 now. Holy, I didn't know he jumped up the rankings that much. I know. Okay, so yeah, they're really pushing him. So it's like, yeah, I feel like he should be an RDA because the whole wrestling thing, RDA versus wrestlers. Dan Hooker, once again, I feel like that's a guy you should be able to beat. I know I'm pointing down guys that are, I guess, now or below. Gregor Gillespie, I think, is an interesting matchup. I think that's a guy who could give him some trouble. Obviously, with the guys above him, though, those are the guys who are very, very well rendered, just like him. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like he's going to beat all these guys leading up. It's just like once he gets to number 4 and up, that's when I'll be even more impressed. Like, okay, yeah, but it is the fact we all know he's a prospect. We all know his potential. It's just like we just need to see him get in those big name fights, which is going to be a little while, I think.
Fair enough. And as far as big name fights, I mean, what kind of fight? I mean, Dana said in the post fight that Beneil Dariush might be next. Is that a fight that you personally would like to see as like with the next logical progression?
I mean, it makes sense, but damn, Beneil, that's a tough out for Beneil too. You know what I mean? Especially after having to build his way up so long. But hey, you know, this is how you got to do it, right? If he comes out here and beats Islam Makhachev, what a statement, right? And obviously, as Islam beats Beneil, it's like, well, I beat the guy above me, who's coming off all this big win streak. But at the same time, Beneil is kind of just getting into those bigger names as well. So it's kind of a weird spot because he doesn't have like the Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier name, you know, under his belt. And it's no disrespect to Carlos Diego Herrera and Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson was kind of his first big name, but it's like we've seen the natural progression of Tony Ferguson's careers right now, where it's kind of like, well, do we value the Tony name as much now as we did, you know, maybe a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, as far as I personally don't want to see the Beneil Dariush fight next because I'm biased and I honestly believe that. I mean, the way they're kind of pushing him now, they put him to number 5, so it doesn't really matter what I think, because it's pretty clear the next fight Islam has, if he wins that, he's getting a title shot. They've kind of positioned him as the successor to Habib, and they're already trying to do it. I mean, Daniel Cormier, Brendan Schaub, a lot of these MMA talking heads are already kind of pushing him. It's like, oh, yeah, he's like Habib, but better. And like, I don't agree with that shit at all. But they've kind of
also two very different styles, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Habib is very much he's gonna smash you, and Islam has less of kind of a fan-friendly style, and that's just me personally. He's way more willing to just stay on top and do nothing, and eventually sort of slowly get into position to potentially finish that fight. Whereas Habib,
submissions though,
he does have good submissions, but like you know what I'm saying. He's a lot more safe, and he kind of developed that style mainly because he got knocked the fuck out by Adrian Martinez a couple of years ago, and it's working for him. Personally, I like to see the RDA fight next, just because like that fight, they got history. That fight was booked, I believe, 2 times, and Makhachev pulled out twice.
They gotta make it happen, right?
I think they do. I mean, RDA called him out, and I think they're gonna try and do the Beneil Dariush fight, which I don't like, just because Benny worked so hard, man, to get into like he's beaten more ranked guys than Makhachev, and it's just I don't know. I like to see him actually get like a big name fight rather than be the guy that gets fed to Islam. I think if they're going to do a fight, it should be RDH because they have the past. RDA is coming off a great win over Paul Felder. He's looked good. He looked really, really good back down at 155. And, you know, if he beats him, then awesome. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the crowning him beforehand, which I've been very vocal about because I'm like, we got to wait and see, man. I really think we got to wait and see. But that being said, man, he did look very, very good against Thiago Moises. Not trying to take anything away from the performance. I hyped Thiago a lot going in. I'm a big fan of that kid. But moving on down to the co-main, man. This one wasn't even close. Miesha Tate coming back after 5 years off, taking on Marion Renault and Marion's retirement fight. Yes, Marion Renault is 44. Yes, she had lost 4 fights in a row going in, but she was still ranked number 12 as in the division, one of the greatest women bantamweights on the planet. Miesha Tate made it look easy, getting the finish in the 3rd round. Man, what are your thoughts on her performance, and what is your kind of thoughts on her stock moving forward as a potential, title challenger back at 135?
I mean, she has to build her way up. I think that's the smart idea. Obviously, she beat someone she should have. Afterwards, a lot of people I shouldn't say a lot of people. A lot of people were like, well, it's of course she beat her. She should have beat her. They set it up perfectly for her. But I'm like, yeah, that's what they probably should have done, because we've seen a lot of guys come back and not get set up with a fight that could appropriately gauge where they were at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which, tune-ups and all that, you could say whatever. But, I think this was a good way for her to kind of like settle back in, with a girl who hadn't been finished before this, right? Ever in her career?
No.
So there you go. That as well. And that way she was able to slot into the rankings a little lower. But she ended up in 8, which I'm like, that's higher. Once again, higher than what I thought. But, you know, she could beat a lot of the girls below her, too. And above her, that's when it gets a little harder. But, you know, I think she has a lot to work on still, and she's going to keep growing and get better. I think you got to give her time, because I feel like a lot of people afterwards were like, they kind of want to see her in a harder fight, but it's like, it didn't make sense to have her in a harder fight. Like, why the hell would you want her in a harder fight right now as she's coming back to the sport, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So let her, you know, she got done. She got, you know, finished her fight pretty well. Looked pretty unscathed. No, I'm assuming no heavy damage. Obviously, a lot of times you know, maybe there was some small injury in there that happened, and she's gonna have to be out or whatever. I don't know. I hope not, right? And I really hope that maybe potentially at some point later this year we see her again with another ranked opponent, another one that you know, can help her build her way up and get used to, you know, the routine and everything again.
Mm-hmm. And look, man, I mean, people are saying, oh yeah, she should have beat her, but like, there's no gimme fight when you're coming back from 5 years off, having 2 kids, and people forget, she had lost 2 fights back to back before that against Raquel Pennington and Amanda Nunes, and she got smashed in both those. Raquel 30-27'd her, and Nunes beat the shit out of her, honestly, and knocked her, broke her nose, submitted her. It was brutal. People forgot how brutal that finish was, man. So for her to come back from that, take 5 years off, have literally 2 kids in the meantime, I don't care if you're facing fucking Owen, like a girl who's 0-3 or something. That's going to be tough to get in there just to get your bearings again. But she showed no signs of ring rust. Me personally, man, I'd like to see a Holly Holm fight next. Just because they both said they wanted, and Miesha even talked about in the press conference. Somebody asked her a question about, respectfully, all these girls can get it. And I'm like, oh shit, like she's back, man. She's ready for the belt. And obviously, division's Nunes. I mean, there's no real competition. I mean, I don't want to spoil our predictions for 2 weeks from now with the pay-per-view, but Nunes rules the division. She's not losing until she's not losing until she retires, probably. Or somebody completely unforeseen rises up. That's pretty much the case. I think Miesha could possibly be the second best woman that did the division. Obviously, we still have a ways to go before we find out that, before we actually see how good she truly is, because beating Marion Renault is a good step in that process, but we still have to see her tested. I think the next big test will be a Holly Holm fight, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, dude, great return for her. She's back into the rankings now. She's sitting at number 8. As far as where the rest of the card goes, man, what are some of the fights you want to go ahead and highlight?
And you got to go down one, man. Jeremy Stephens getting submitted in the first round. I did not expect that.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts on that as well? Because it was so quick. I missed it, actually. Like, I went into the kitchen to grab something, and they're like, dude, he just submitted him. I'm like, what? You're playing.
Dude, Gamrot is a bad man, bro. Mm-hmm. You know, he got into the UFC. He lost his O in his first fight against a guy in Garam who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Same.
And I thought that was a fight he got robbed in, and ever since then he's been on a warpath, bro. He knocked the hell out of Scott Holtzman. And then against Jeremy Stephens, fastest Kimura submission in UFC history, literally a minute in. And yeah, Jeremy Stephens has not been very good lately, but I also think like his losses aren't, like, they're kind of deceiving in a way. You know what I mean? Like, he lost to Jose Aldo, but I mean, he already lose to Jose Aldo at featherweight. He lost as a beat, but like that fight was really, really close, especially down the stretch. He got the finish. He got eye poked by Yair. Then he had a close fight with Yair. There was a fight of the night. Then he lost to Calvin Kattar, but you know, he was winning that fight up until he got Boston bombed. And, you know, so going in, it was like, you know, I could kind of see him pulling off the win here, man. Like, he just had a rough streak. He's had a couple of mistakes, and that ultimately led to where he is at. Hell no, man. Gamrot wasting no time, bro. I mean, that was impressive as fuck.
Dude, what is it called? I wonder who they're going to give him, because there's a lot of guys at 155 who are fucking good, dude, who are in rank. Like, I'm going to start naming some off real quick here for you. Mm-hmm. Marco Madsen, Joel Alvarez. Here we go. Who else do we have in here? I just saw Nasrat Habkrast, right? Damir Azamagul. Fizaev, yeah. Like these are guys and Grant Dawson. You know, like all these guys are outside of the 15, and then obviously Gamrot, who we just saw. I wonder who they're going to give him because they're not gonna, I don't know if they'll give him someone ranked next or someone just outside of their rankings. And then Armand just broke into the rankings, Russian guy. Yeah. What are they going to do, man? Like they have their lightweight. The lightweight division is fucking packed right now.
I know, man. I don't think they're gonna give him somebody ranked, not right now. I think they're gonna give him another one before we fight somebody ranked. But man, lightweight is just. I mean, I feel like we always say this, but lightweight is such a damn good division, bro, man. I mean, like honestly, just look at that. That top 15 is just full of murderers, and then that's not better. Even the unranked guys. So it's crazy.
It's gonna get better. You know, but iron sharpens irons. You know, the best guy who rules that division for a while is gonna be real good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. This is slightly off topic, man, but like, 155 is so fun right now. I like, you know, who's a big guy that people are sleeping on, bro?
Oh,
Arman Sarukian, bro. This is bringing it back to the main event.
Well, I just said his name, yeah.
But bring it back bring it back, like just back to the main event, really, dude. I mean, he gave Makhachev hell. Like that was a really, really close fight, man. He's won every fight since then. He's a young kid. He only got into MMA. Like, MMA was like his side thing. He was training to like play hockey professionally. That's kind of cool. And he still hasn't given up on that dream. He still plays. Like it's just, but like really? Like he still plays like regionally. That like his big thing was hockey, bro. And then he just so happens to be a fucking badass in MMA. So like,
I mean, you see the guy though. He looks like a statue, dude. Like the way he's built, like it look like someone created that, handmade. You know, it doesn't look real.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's just a beast, bro. Like I love that kid. Like that's slightly off topic, but like, damn, man. But as far as the rest of the card goes, outside of Gamrot's win, what are some of the other fights you want to go and highlight as far as recapping?
Dude, Rodolfo Vieira, 3rd round late submission. He gassed out once again, but was able to get it somehow. Do you think he should move up to 205 or just like actually get rid of some weight?
I truly don't even.
185.
He truly doesn't even look that big at 185 to me. Like maybe it's just me, but he does not even look that big, which is like I wonder how he's gassing out so quickly. Like does he look that big to you?
He carries a lot of mass, dude. He's like he's really like pebbly, you know, like a rock, you know, like he's maybe not like those guy who comes in and looks like crazy to find, but his muscles are big. Like he is very.
I think it's worth a shot because he's gassed terribly twice in a row now.
Oh yeah. And
I need to go back and watch. I mean, really, his other fights were finished super quickly, so it didn't really matter. But like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure he just shot like double leg and like got him down, and it was a quick submission after that.
Yeah, man, it's rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, even when he was in ACB, first round, when he made his debut, 2nd round, and then 1st round, and then he obviously had that loss against Fluffy Hernandez in the 2nd round where he got submitted.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, man, he should consider it. I think like there's only so many times you keep on gassing out before like it becomes like a massive problem. Like even if you're winning, like it's still a bad look. Especially whenever it's like if it's like heavyweight, we kind of give you a pass. But like
when you're the one division you could get away with it, dude.
Exactly. When you're at 185, bro, it's like it's a bad look whenever you're dead tired 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
but you know, it is what it is, man. As far as the rest of the card goes, D-Rod picking up a nice win. Like that's a guy that like I'm surprised has not broken to the rankings yet. Like he's looked phenomenal. His one loss was the Nicholas Dalby in a fight I thought he won.
Do you think his next opponent will be ranked?
It should be. I mean, he should be facing a ranked guy, bro. He really should.
Who would you like him to see him fight?
That's a good ass question. I mean, look, 170's in a really weird position, but maybe Ponzinibbio, maybe. That wouldn't be bad. That'd be a banger.
Don't they have Ponzinibbio's next fight scheduled?
I don't think so.
Who's he gonna fight? I thought there were some rumors about him fighting someone. I thought I maybe heard Jeff. I could be wrong. Could be just talking out of my ass right now.
I think you are.
I think I could have sworn there was. What do you mean? I could have sworn there was some talks of him getting into the next fight. I don't know if he'll fight this year again. I mean, he fought twice this year. Granted, though, I would like to see him fight another time.
Yeah, for sure. He's just surprisingly he's an active guy for sure as well.
He came back quick though after that knockout.
Yeah. As far as other fights, man, Malcolm Gordon picking up a nice win. He was a massive underdog against Francisco Figueiredo, but didn't really matter. Amanda Lemos. Now, I will say stoppage was terrible on this.
I could agree. It was rough.
It was a classic women's MMA stoppage. Like, if that makes any sense. I feel like sometimes women it's either two avenues, right? Because it's so. I mean, this can be bad. It's backed by facts. It's not sexism. Like, generally speaking, on a much higher rate of time, women MMA fights go to a decision. It happens way more often. It's even less so that it's knockouts that happen.
God, so Josh, you sexist pig.
No, this is factually correct. This is facts. Facts don't care about your feelings, bro. But the point that I'm making here is that whenever women MMA fighters tend to have a stoppage or gets close, I feel like they either stop it way too soon or they just let them get the shit kicked out of them. Like, there's no in between.
Whoa, Mario Yamasaki, chill.
That's exactly what I'm saying, dude. But that's not even the only one. Is
there another worse one that I can't think of? I mean, that's just the most memorable one.
Aspen Ladd beat the shit out of Yana Kunitskaya for a while.
I saw that the other day. I think I might have seen that actually, picture of her. Was she on top of her pounding her?
Yes.
Yes, I think I did see that the other day.
I mean, that happened for a while. I mean, earlier I just mentioned it. Miesha Tate got annihilated by Amanda Nunes. Nunes got the submission, but even then, that was after.
You know what I think it is? I think it might be it's inherently there's some sort of how do I put it, gender thing where it's a
gender bias.
Yeah, where it's I need to save her and get her out of there, you know?
I wonder if that's.
Yeah, I wonder if that's saying though, right? But then at the same time, they don't want to stop it so quick because they don't want to be what the fuck, man? You know?
Well, as for the fight with Montserrat Ruiz and Amanda Lemos, this was a pretty fucking terrible one. This is a really bad early stoppage.
I was so confused. I was what?
I mean, what? She got knocked down once and then the fight was over, and she was up
instantly.
And while Lemos was on the ground because Lemos slipped. Ruiz was up first. And did you see? Please tell me you saw the clip of I don't remember who the referee was. The referee was talking to Ruiz during right afterwards, and he was holding her hand. He's they're gonna do the whole thing where he holds the official announcement, right? Please tell me you saw the clip of Montserrat Ruiz just looking him up and down, just completely disgusted.
Yeah, but I did, and I follow her coach and all that, so it looks like she was dealing with it pretty well, because obviously she knows what happened, and not to take anything away from Anna Lemos, because she did look good with her striking at a distance and all that, right? We don't know what would have happened. We don't know if Montserrat would have got in and got the takedown or whatever happens. But that girl's talented too. She has power too for a little. She has that rose build where she's a little longer and lengthier. She even has the same little kind of striking thing, soak her around, kind of heavy movement. I'm not saying she's just like Rose, but kind of in that essence of kind of a little similarity there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Montserrat Ruiz, she's still my girl though. I'm just saying it. I'm still on the hype train, bro. That
she is small. I do think if they had an atomweight division, she'd fit very well in there.
She is very small for the division. She's 5 foot barely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the atomweights are generally around there, right? 5'2" and down.
Yeah. It sucks. She'll be back though. That she's still a big fan of her. But as far as the rest of the card, man, I mean it was all right. It was all right. I mean, Billy Quarantillo got a nice win against Gabriel Benitez. That was the fight of the night by far. As far as it goes, that's pretty much all there was for that one, for that card. However, Angel, we got a really, really big fight happening Saturday. Yes. And I feel like it's flying under the radar to an extent. I feel like I have not seen as much hype on it as there should be, in my opinion. But nonetheless, man, let's crack into it. UFC Vegas 32 ? I think that's it. UFC Vegas 32. At this point, they don't number this shit like they used to.
I know, it's heartbreaking. I feel like they should.
I'm the only one who keeps track.
So what is it technically now?
Yeah, it's according to Wikipedia, it's UFC on ESPN 27.
Oh, because it's on ESPN. Yeah, because they're on ESPN now. I forgot.
Yeah, and because they're in Vegas all the time, they don't count them anymore. But they used to be. If we're going by what it is normally, it's UFC Vegas 32. But regardless, number talk. I'm sure that's why you guys are all here. Corey Sandhagen, one of the greatest bantamweights on the planet, ranked number 2 in the division, 29 years young, and he is just hitting his prime, coming off of back-to-back knockout wins against Frankie Edgar, Marlon Moraes. His only loss in the UFC is to the champion Aljamain Sterling via submission.
I did just not hear you say that. I was kidding.
He's the love him or hate him.
The paper champ.
It doesn't matter. Petr Yan should not have thrown
the fake Meister.
You will never get me to break on this. It's Piotr's fault. He should have never thrown the knee.
I never said he wasn't though.
But you play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. He should not have.
Yeah, whatever.
Interim
title. It should be an interim title right now. Corey Sandhagen versus Piotr. Whoever wins this fight gets an interim title with Piotr.
Why would there be an interim title? They just fought back.
Because Aljamain's not going to fight because he had neck surgery. He's going to be
Aljamain. That fight just got booked. They're fighting in October.
Oh, are they really? Let's see if Aljamain doesn't pull out.
March to October is not a bad time frame. That's 7 months.
Josh, that's a long time for me.
That's a long time for you, but we've seen a lot worse. How there was never an interim title in Stipe's title reign is beyond me.
Fuck, he should have been.
But no, Francis is champ for fucking 6 weeks, and we get
it in. Dude, you're not even wrong. What the fuck?
I mean, I'm hyped for it, but it's happened. Anyways, guys.
Wait. I do want to say something before we continue. Can I just say this card is littered with people who I didn't think would meet at this point in their careers.
Like who?
Macy Bar, Miranda Maverick. I didn't think they meet right now when they were this young. Even though they're both really young. But you know what I mean. I thought they meet more down the line.
We'll get into that fight in a minute. But I want to talk about that one.
That was an example, but you know what I mean. Yeah. That's one of them.
Yeah. But as far as the main event, man, like I said, his only loss is the champ, Aljamain Sterling. He's 14-2. He's second ranked in the world. And he's taking on the returning Snake, TJ Dillashaw. He's been gone for 2.5 years due to testing positive for the EPO.
PEDS.
UFC's done a whole redemption story about how he's coming back and how he's making his big return, which feels a little bit slime ballish, but it is what it is.
Now.
TJ's one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. I mean, we'll see how he looks on Saturday, but he was one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, man. I mean, wins over Renan Barão twice, Cody Garbrandt twice, Rafael Assunção, John Lineker, so on and so forth, man. I really only have him second to Dom Cruz. And like I said, he is making his bantamweight return. He hasn't fought a bantamweight in actually almost 3 years because obviously he moved down to fight Cejudo at 125. So this is his first fight back at bantamweight in 3 years, man. There's so many question marks going into this. It's pretty insane. How many unknowns are going into this, man. But shit, what are you thinking as far as what are your expectations for DJ Dillashaw's comeback and who you got in the main event?
The issue with anybody who's returning like this, there's always a lot of questions, right? We don't know how they're going to be, what they've experienced, and obviously with TJ, sadly, because of his suspension. And I know a lot of people don't want to bring it up. It's sadly because of his suspension and what it was for. Obviously EPO, which is, mainly for his endurance, right? That's what fucking cyclists used in the Tour de France to stay in.
Yeah.
So, I guess he gave a quick shot to our boy Lance out there. I got some off. So obviously, and TJ is one of those guys who had good pressure later on too on those 4th, 5th championship rounds, could just instantly start going in hard, like that. So obviously that's gonna be a big question. If TJ comes back and he doesn't have that same kind of build up. Granted, also age, time, ring rust, that's what I'm saying. For me, the big issue with this, there's a lot of question marks because of all these other things that make him good, that are also related to him being gone, and then the usage of the EPO. It's very hard for me to pick TJ because I don't know what to expect from TJ. And normally if this was TJ had been fighting regularly right now and he's meeting up with Corey, I'd tell you Corey's a good prospect. He's shown good improvement and growth in his game, but TJ is one of the best ever doing in his division. But for me right now, since I have all these question marks and I don't know, and I don't have all these answers, I'm gonna pick Corey Sandhagen, Josh.
Look, man, I mean, that's a nice pick, bro. Like, I don't blame you. This is about as a 50-50 for a fight.
Oh shit! I already know what you're gonna say, Josh. I don't even need you to tell me.
You know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
What am I gonna say?
Just say it. Say it. I just want to hear you say it, Josh.
I'm not. I gotta do the whole breakdown though.
I just want to do your breakdown, but all
right, fine. Look, so we've had more unknowns to this fight than a lot that we've had this year. It's about a 50-50 as a fight I think we've had on this show in quite some time. I feel like I say that every single month, but for this month, it's true. For this fight, it's true, man. I mean, look, you got a guy who coming 2 years off. I mean, he's 35. At the age of 35, man, you never see anybody have any success. Like, I'd honestly say past that age, just because bantamweight, it's a young division. These dudes are young, they're fast. The older you get, the worse it is. I mean, it's hard to imagine a guy coming back after 2 years off. It's his first time fighting, and we're seeing him come off of, like, a drug test suspension. This is not some tainted supplements either. I mean, that, like, in TJ, I mean, I watched his they made the whole documentary about it. Like, so, you know, I took something, I took a pill that I know I shouldn't have taken. Like, EPO is literally only injected. That's how EPO is. He literally, like, there's no tainted supplement here. He stuck a needle in his body and did EPO. There's no bullshitting around that fact. We don't know how he's going to look coming off of all that. He noticeably looked softer at the weigh-ins. Like, he still looked good, but, like, compared to, like, his last fight, you know what I mean?
Hey, man, he's off, bro. He's been off for a while.
He's been off for a while. I'm still taking TJ Dillashaw.
Oh,
via
shit.
decision. I think Corey Sandhagen has legitimately.
Well, just you fucking wait, Josh. Just you wait for Corey Sandhagen to get that fourth round submission fourth round submission on TJ Dillashaw.
I hate it. I hate that I'm picking DJ Dillashaw right now. I despise the fact that I'm doing.
But Josh, you know you want it. Because you can't wait for the buff to come out and yell out TJ Dillashaw and TJ. That's why you want it, Josh. That's why you want it.
No, I don't want it. I don't like TJ Dillashaw. I think TJ Dillashaw is a dick. I think that he cheated. I think the fact that like he is. Let's talk about this for a moment. I think the fact that the UFC is like proclaiming this like his big comeback and they're promoting it and like they did a whole sob story documentary like he got injured or some shit. No, he injected EPO into his fucking body. And like the only reason they caught it and like you saw they did that because you saw it as just a bunch of like you saw it as bullshit anyway. They went back and they tested it and they're like, oh yeah, we didn't find anything in his previous test results. You didn't find it in the first test results. The New York State Athletic Commission was the only ones who caught TJ Dillashaw. USADA just sucks. They didn't even catch him. New York caught him. Like it's just so them going back and finding like they didn't find anything in TJ's previous supplements. No, like I'm sure they didn't. He was probably on it then too, and he was cheating and it's one thing to cheat in like basketball or baseball. I think baseball cheating should be encouraged. If you're not on steroids, you don't care about the fans. You just don't care. But look, in MMA, dude, I mean, you're going in there to knock out your opponent, to do serious physical harm, right?
I love the baseball comment, by the way. I can't get over that.
It's true. I mean,
what about pro wrestling, Josh?
Pro wrestling, if you're not cheating, then it's just if you're not on steroids, you don't care. No, but like in MMA, it's different, dude. Like you're going in there, and it's like I've said my position on this has been firm every single time that we brought it up on the show. If this is like a position where like there's no drug testing, that's fine because then everybody's going to be on it. Then it's an even playing field to an extent. You know what I mean? Like because everybody's on it.
Yeah. It's
like Modern Warfare 2 back in the day. Every gun is still broken. It's perfectly even. But like in right now, whenever there's drug testing and people are clean and you're still skirting around and cheating, that makes you kind of an asshole. And I think TJ Dillashaw is kind of an asshole. And I think the fact they're doing this whole redemption angle is really stupid and kind of fucked up. Like they showed like his like how they showed like his family reacting, like his coaches reacting. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Did you watch do you have was it Fight Pass? Isn't that where they had the documentary on?
Yeah.
Did you actually get to see it? What was it called again? Redemption?
I don't remember what it was called, the documentary, but they just recently put it up like within the last month or so.
Did you watch it?
I did. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so how was the reaction to the people? Because I
Like,
wanted to watch it.
They showed him getting the phone call.
Oh shit! They had that footage.
Yeah.
Give me the whole quick breakdown on his reaction, how he looked. Like he was like, "Fuck!" Like
he looked like devastated, and like they like he was like, you know what? I'm sorry to my team, my family, my coaches.
I remember the video. I remember the video on YouTube. I remember that got a lot of views. Him sitting down with his broken arm or whatever.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like, I don't give a flying fuck that you've like. Why are we interviewing his fucking head coach who probably knew he was on steroids? Why do I care? I care more about Hendon Barao, who took like 400 strikes from fucking cheating TJ.
Well, apparently no one knew.
Or I care more about Cody Garbrandt, who got knocked the fuck out twice by a guy who was on all the supplements.
What a nice combination. So.
I care more about what those guys had to go through.
No, you're
but
right.
I don't know. I do think he's gonna win though, just because I think like skill set wise, even if he's half of what he used to be, I mean, Corey Sandhagen has terrible takedown defense, really, really bad. And I truly think that like TJ is just probably going to go in there and grind on him for the next 5 rounds. Like I think that's probably what's going to happen. Is it possible Corey's going to get the knockout? 100%. Just because Corey, dude, that kid, he's figured out something, man. He flipped the switch after the Aljo loss. He really did.
His knockouts have been highlights too, dude. It's not like he's
really
been like.
And TJ's coming off a knockout too. Like that's a really big deal. I mean, he's coming off of getting KO.
2 years though. It's been 2 years. Like he's healed. You know.
It's been 2 years, but like sometimes
and it was a different weight class.
Yeah, but still, like some dudes get their chin cracked and they just never come back.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Cejudo knocked him out. Garbrandt knocked him down in 2 fights.
Has TJ had any like severe damage though outside of that?
Let me look back real quick.
Did he get knocked out by a Sunsao?
No, so Sunsao beat him by decision. Okay. That was a fight of the night, but he didn't take much damage. Cruz beat him by decision, but he didn't take much damage. Really, the only damage, you know who knocked him out? John Dodson knocked him the fuck out.
I was about to say, I know someone knocked him out. I couldn't think of who it was. But John Dodson, but that was years ago. Shout out John Dodson.
That was years ago. Shout out John Dodson. But yeah, man, I'm going to take TJ. I don't like it. This is very, very 50-50. But, it is what it is. Co-main event, man. Very interesting fight. We got 2 ranked bantamweights, more on the back end. I mean,
former flyweight, now a bantamweight.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, former flyweight moving up to bantamweight, still ranked in the top 15 though. Kyler Phillips ranked number 14, 9-1, great prospect, coming off of a great win over Song Yadong, who was looking like honestly one of the best prospects in the division before that. Taking on Rulan Pavia, I've been very notable saying this kid, he's one of my boys, Angel. Rulan Pavia, one of my boys.
Well, too bad your boy is losing. I'm picking Kyler Phillips. Show.
You're not even doing the preview. You're not even doing the breakdown, are you?
I mean, I could do the breakdown real quick. I mean, Kyler, good guy. Obviously, traditionally, if I believe so, right? Traditionally came from a wrestling background. Hasn't fucking used it really. Now using his striking mainly, which is kind of like, okay, do your thing, my guy. But it's working, so why am I complaining? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, I've been notable saying Rulan Pavia. Talked about this last time we actually hung out. I was like, we have our boys. Pavia is one of my boys. He's one of the rare flyweights who actually finishes fights. So I'm a big. I mean, honestly, like if you look like his record, he has 13 decisions out of 20 fights. That doesn't seem like Josh. What are you talking about? Look at his last few fights, bro. Decision, knockout, decision, knockout, submission. Like he's been working in the finishes. He's been working on that. And I'm a big fan of him. I do think this is Kyler Phillips' night, though, man. I really think this is a guy who has a lot of potential in this division. They're both 2 young guys. They're both 25 and 26. But I'm really high on Kyler Phillips. I really, really am, especially after that Song Yadong win, because I was huge on Song Yadong, But I do think it's gonna be Kyler Phillips' night. I think this is like. It sucks that the Aspen Ladd fight fell out, but this is a great showcase for these 2 dudes, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. No, yeah, I agree completely. It did suck that fight fell out. Which is weird, though, with rankings, though, because Aspen was way above Macy, which I thought that was weird that they set that up. But I guess they thought Macy deserved it, so I can't hate.
Yeah, but as far as the rest of the card goes, I mean, I said we want to talk about this fight. We can go ahead and bump it down. We'll go past Darren Elkins, Derek Minner, which not a whole lot to preview there. Should be a really fun fight, though. Really, really fun fight, that one should be. But Miranda Maverick, Maycee Barber, this one, I'd say is probably one of the most hyped up fights in the card. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. Obviously, both two women, 23 and 24, both ranked in the bottom half of flyweight. One of them is coming off of back-to-back losses. The other one is coming off of, back-to-back wins in the UFC. You mentioned how, like, both these are two fighters that you did not expect to see, like, this early. Like, what are some of the thoughts on, like, the fight as a whole?
I mean, it's obviously, and obviously it happens all the time, the ones who, hit that big level will meet early on and then meet again later on, right? Obviously, I shouldn't really say that it's a surprise because it happens. But I just didn't expect this specific matchup. And it's a hard matchup for Maycee, too, not to get crazy into it right now, especially after coming back with 2 back-to-back losses. Granted, though, the Roxanne Modafferi loss, I mean, they had her as a massive favorite, but I'm like, Roxy has a lot of experience looking back at it, and obviously Alex Grasso with her improved ground game, which obviously showing a lot of growth there. And now they put her in with another young, hungry girl in Miranda Maverick. I mean, it's a tough fight for Maycee, man. Maycee's 23 years old. I mean, she has her whole career ahead of her. I mean, it's not over if she loses here, but that will be 3 losses in a row. This is an important one for her, I think, at least to build her confidence. Obviously, if Miranda loses here, okay. But she's coming off the Jillian Robertson win, which was a good one. Obviously, her other win, or late last year, which that was in Abu Dhabi. That was the Habib Gaethje card. Obviously, her fight before that was Pearl Gonzalez. So she was really building her way up. She's really like leveled up, and now she's here with another young prospect, and also a big fight for her. I mean, it's really a massive fight for them. Like on paper, it might not seem like it, but there's a lot really on the line here for these gals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm admittedly biased in this fight because Miranda Maverick, I've literally covered her entire rise. I mean, I was there for like her first loss against Brogan Walker, and her coming back, her entire history since then has just been awesome to see getting into the UFC because I personally never expected it to happen this soon. I mean, I always knew that she was talented, but like after the Pearl Gonzalez win, I'm like, damn, that's it, man. Like she's moving on, and she knocked the shit out of Liana Jojua, beat up Jillian Robertson, man. And this fight seems like it's hers for the taking, man. I feel like they're trying to transfer some of that hype that they had of Maycee Barber, honestly, over to Miranda Maverick. I feel like that's why this fight was made. But, I mean, it is what it is. As far as the rest of the fight card, though, man, what are some of the other fights you want to go and highlight besides that one?
Going to still on the on the prelims, Mickey Gall, Jordan Williams. Mickey Gall is back, Josh, after the Mike Perry loss. Back at welterweight just so earlier. But Jordan Williams, I had mentioned it before on the podcast, came off the Contender Series, diabetic guy. Obviously has to put in a lot of work because of that, and managed a lot of stuff leading into the week. He's fighting at welterweight now, not middleweight, which one is a good thing for him, I think. Obviously, it's hard for him to be able to like weight cut and control those things, and obviously getting to a fight week is very hard for him. He has to put in a lot of extra work, and he's fighting a guy, Mickey Gall, which, I mean, that's a hard fight, but if he can get through Mickey, I mean, that's pretty impressive. I'll give him that. Obviously, Mickey's great jiu-jitsu. He's a gamer, man. He comes out here, he'll put it out there, and hopefully he's able to avoid those submissions, maybe stop some takedowns. And for Mickey, obviously, maybe come out here and get a win and get a submission against Jordan Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And also, look, I mean, that's a fight that I'm really high on, and Mickey Gall has always been one of those guys like I got a soft spot for. I mean, he's a tough guy, but at the same time, it's like I wonder how what is his goal at this point in his career? Like I don't want to
I never felt like he evolved as a fighter.
Either, he never did, because he came into the UFC green as fuck. Like we all knew that, but like he started off 4-0, and like two of those names are like CM Punk and Mike Jackson, and like
shout out.
I love Mike. I'm not taking a shot at him, but he's not an MMA fighter by trade. He's like more into boxing, and he's obviously a fucking journalist on the side. He's got a lot of different hats, And CM Punk is not an MMA fighter. Like he is technically, but like he's not. He should have not been in the UFC.
The baddest blue belt, bro. Outside of Derek Lewis.
But then he beat Sage, and I'm like, Sage, for all of his faults, really talented dude. Like a very, very talented guy, had big knockout power. And they're both kind of very similar at that point in their career. Whenever they were like, it's funny because they're both very, very similar in the way they never really evolved. But like, I don't know, man. Like after that win, he's been very, very inactive. And whenever he has been active, he lost to Randy Brown, beat George Sullivan, which is a good win. And then he got dominated by Diego, and he got dominated by Mike. I mean, it was just, I don't know, man. It's just weird. He's never really evolved. I feel like his biggest issue has honestly been like his gas, honestly. Like I thought, like in the Mike Perry fight, he looked as good as he's ever looked. Like in the first round, I remember he was busted up Perry with the jab, man. Like he looks pretty damn good. I thought he was honestly maybe even gonna get a finish because like Mickey Gall has really, really heavy. He has heavy power. He just doesn't really strike that much.
Maybe he can turn it around, but it's gonna be hard, man, because like you said, lack of inactivity or lack of activity. 30. Yeah, and he's 30. And he came in real young. We were talking about that way back. What was he? 24. 24. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 24. Probably about to turn 25 at the time. And now we're here years later, and he's 6-3. What happened? Because like you were saying, after that Sage fight, it seemed like it was going to be a natural progression of growth. He was going to get into another fight, maybe get a submit. And like I said, nothing ever came of it, and I don't know if anything ever will now, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to the fight. I think that's going to be a very fun fight, but could be potentially his last in the UFC, but we'll see what happens. As far as the rest of the card, man, Julio Arce, Andre Ewell should be a lot of fun. Sijara Eubanks making her return down to women's flyweight. In an alternate reality, Sijara Eubanks, former UFC champion. She just made weight that one fight against, would have been tough. But regardless, Hannah Goldie, Angel's favorite fighter, is taking on Diana Belbita on the opening fight of the card.
Definitely got to be there bright and early for that one.
It's going to be up bright and early for that one.
Yes. Fuck you, Josh.
Ian Heinisch is back. Big fan of that guy. His story is obviously good. His story is obviously great and tough last 4 fights, man. But I think it's kind of, I think it's a good fight for him to come back to. Brendan Allen going to be fighting as well. Randy Costa versus Adrian Yana is almost definitely going to be fight of the night. But then Darren Elkins, Derek Menner, it's going to be a tough run for his money.
Hey, Macy Barber and Miranda Maverick can put on a show for us too, though. You never know, dude. Like I said,
that's true. They are both more of the more entertaining side of women's MMA.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. But yeah, I think you put that out there pretty good.
Yeah, of course, man. And then as far as that goes, man, we got some more UFC to talk about. It's been a couple weeks since we talked about the Ultimate Fighter. And by a couple, I mean it's been like legitimately 7 weeks, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Because we talked about week 1.
We talked about week 1. So it's pretty damn crazy. It's more like 6 weeks, but regardless, man. Checking in near the end of the season. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, we've...
Can we talk about the last episode real quick, Josh? I just want to lay it out there.
Let's talk. You lead us in.
Okay, so I think, by the way, I missed the initial part of the episode where, they were figuring out that Homeboy had an injury. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
What was it? I can't remember the kid's name, but yeah, had an injury. Guy's like a big prospect, like a big local kid out there in Vegas. And they bring in Michael Gilmore. Josh, you know how you watch a TV show or a movie and they bring in a character that they're going to kill off? Like, they're going to kill them off.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, no disrespect to Michael Gilmore, but that was Michael Gilmore that night against Gilbert Urbina.
Yeah, man. And it wasn't even close.
Oh, no. It was, and for a moment, I thought they had me. And I was like, oh, shit, Michael Gilmore. You got into the hype. You're like, man, Michael Gilmore, he might come out here and do something, bro. Yeah, he might come out here. That would have been awesome. Like, what a fucking story, right? What a fucking story that would have been. But they really dropped the ball by not bringing in someone who could have given Gilbert a good fight, made Gilbert look good, or they could have brought someone in who could have made an upset. I was a little disappointed on the UFC's end by that because clearly Michael Gilmore was not going to be Gilbert Urbina.
No, it wasn't even close. And now we're all tied up, bro.
Yes.
I mean, both teams. I mean, we're tied up at 4-4.
By the way, all their guys are still in, Josh.
Oh, I know, dude.
Isn't that crazy? But after this week, we'll know if they're gone, or after this, obviously, logically, we know.
Well, I don't remember who I picked. I think I picked Tresean Gore, maybe.
You picked Vince Murdock and Tresean Gore.
Yeah.
I picked Andre and Ricky.
Yeah.
Which theoretically,
I think
our guys can match up against each other. Like theoretically, it could be a Tresean Andre finale and a Ricky Vince Murdock finale.
Yeah.
Which would be sick if that was, Josh. Because, dude, us talking at the end of the season, being like, Josh, man, these are our guys. We gotta talk our shit now, you know?
Yeah. Look, bro, I'm not backing off my picks. I kind of picked Vince Murdock as like kind of more like an upset pick because like he was picked like 7th. He was picked one of the last few picks. And then he went out there, dude, got a knockout round number 1, looked great.
I was a little sad for my boy Dustin Lampers. I really did like him.
Yeah, man, I like the kid too, but like I
like a lot of these guys though. I liked a lot of them.
It's one of the rare seasons, but like I don't feel like there's any overarching asshole. You know what I mean?
No, I mean if you really want to argue, maybe Mitch just because he's young and kind of a loudmouth.
Yeah, but I mean he's not that bad. Like they come.
And I still like him because he's good.
Bad.
He's real good. He's a real good fighter. So I guess do you want to go through each matchup a little bit, talk about them a little bit, what we think, and then come back when the semifinals are done and talk about it again?
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah.
By the way, I have the bracket pulled up. Do you want to start with next week? Because I guess so. I think it's gonna be Ludwig Ricky.
Ludwig Ricky, that's gonna be a tough one. I feel like for Ricky.
Yes, Ludwig. Obviously the wrestling. Obviously early on though he did struggle. Ricky does come out strong, which we saw in his first fight against Daniel.
Young kid, not to be surprised.
Yeah, very explosive, very awkward, not very conventional, but has good jiu-jitsu. So against Ludwig's Olympic level wrestling, I'm sure he'll make it interesting. And obviously he creates a lot of interesting angles with kicks, knees, punches. Like he's very awkward. So I'm sure in the stand-up Ludwig will have like a lot of trouble. So he'll have to find a quick takedown early on. Because with Mitch didn't have the same kind of length and leg kicks that Ricky does. Because Ricky's a lot longer. So I'm sure that'll make that kind of a hard fight for Ludwig. Obviously I'm gonna stick with my boy. I don't know if you want to go through and predict these or if you just want to go talk about them.
Let's go through them, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm also gonna take Ricky just for the pure fact that like, first of all, these picks don't count. Obviously, we keep track of like, or I keep track. This is just for fun. These are just for fun. We should figure out like something to like do like for our actual picks, like something fun, like to actually have a stakes like on the line.
We did it last time where the person for the lightweight draft went first, which I thought was kind of like a fair thing to do. Yeah. Granted, we can use that for a lot of things throughout the year.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I don't want to give a tease, but like maybe there could be something involved in that. Some heavyweight boys coming up soon.
I don't know. We gotta find like a belt or something. We'll get on it, like something we can hold.
Yeah, or like something like maybe not even like we'll figure it out. I don't know. I'm gonna take Ricky though, just for the pure fact I do want to see our boys match up. So I'm gonna go and take Ricky, bro. I think Ludwig, like I don't want to jinx it, right? But
Ludwig could be a sleeper though. I think he's
a sleeper. I really think
out of the whole season, he's the most slept on guy.
I think Mitch is a super talented kid, picked number 1 for a reason, and Ludwig went right through him. Like obviously it was a tough round 1, but like down the stretch.
All control on the ground.
Yeah, so dude, I don't know, man. I think Ludwig, he could pull it out, but for the pure fact I want to see it happen, I am gonna take Ricky.
Okay, well let's keep staying with the bantamweights. The second matchup, Vince Murdock versus Brady. Well, we saw him fight Josh last week. Split decision, obviously.
Close fight, great fight.
For some reason, I really want to see Josh come out of that win, man. It was he grew on me in that episode. We didn't see a lot of him leading up to that episode, I think, in general in the season. But who do you got, Josh? Vince or Brady? I'll let you kind of take the lead on this one since I took the lead on the last one.
Dude, Vince Murdock is my boy. I picked him to win.
Yeah, I guess you're gonna stay with your guys. So I can't really.
I got to stay with my guys, but even more if I'm not staying with my guys, coming off of a war like that against Josh, I think it's gonna be tough, man. And Vince has got power. He was the most experienced guy going in. Like a lot of people didn't really, well, yeah, but like a lot of people didn't really buy a whole lot of stock in him going in, considering like most people only know him from like losing in Bellator and so on and so forth. Like, dude's got a lot of power. He's one of the most experienced guys. I gotta go with Vince, man. Especially coming off a war like that against Josh, I'm gonna take Vince. Even more than the fact that he's just my guy. Like,
true. I'm gonna stay on the same page, man, because I want to see our guys face off. And I think Brady's still really young, really inexperienced. Obviously, Vince is, like you said, all the war, all of these factors. Yeah, I'm on the same page.
Yeah, man. And then we can go ahead and move up to the middleweights. These ones, I mean, first of all, we'll start with
I'd
Andre.
say the middleweights have been the least impressive this season in comparison to the bantamweights, just fight-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, I'd feel inclined to agree. And I also feel like both these fights have potential to be a lot of fun, but at the same time, I'm way more interested in bantamweight, but we still have to talk about them nonetheless. Andre and Brian, first one up.
I mean, I don't know. Brian Battle, he was one of the guys who was picked last, right? If I remember, near the end, right? They were the last two. He was one of the last two picks. I mean, he has length, he has a lot of stuff, but he doesn't particularly impress me with anything. Obviously, Andre, decent bit of experience, has that wrestling, has very clean, tight striking, very patient. I think he should be able to beat Brian Battle. I think he should actually be able to finish Brian. So I might call it Brian Battle finish. Or not Brian Battle, Andre finish.
I'm on the same page, man. I'm going to take Andre via finish. I was very, very impressed with him in his first fight against Aaron.
Granted, though, he should have finished Aaron first round from what we learned in that first episode.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, he did exactly what he needed to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's even harder sometimes to actually go in there and do what you're expected when it's like an opponent that's overmatched. You know what I mean? It's hard to sometimes replicate that just because like everybody's expecting you to do it. Did it nonetheless and went right through him. And Brian, I like the guy, but he's the last pick for a reason. I'm gonna go and take Andre. Andre just looks very crisp, man, in all the stuff that he does, like striking wise, ground wise.
It's all tight.
Obviously, his wrestling is phenomenal. Like, we knew that going in, but like he looks tight on the feet. His jiu-jitsu looks good. I'm gonna go and take Andre to move on to the finals. So, next one up though is I feel like the next one is harder to predict.
Yes, for a number of reasons. I think it's because it's like the traditional style. Ground versus striking, right? Or jiu-jitsu versus striker, however you want to put it. Obviously, Trayshawn, very inexperienced, good power, very motivated, hard worker. Gilbert, obviously, third generation, on tough, great jiu-jitsu. We know that. It's just kind of, I think this is a pick one because you don't know what's going to happen, like I said, Josh, I kind of want to see our boys kind of face off with each other. I'm going to pick Trayshawn here. I think he can stick with it, work really hard, find himself in the finals with Andre, and give us a banger of a fight.
Yeah, man. And look, I mean, Gilbert, I'm really high on them. I'm really high on that kid, but I'm going to take Trayshawn too, bro. I can't go against my boy. I picked him to win the whole fucking thing, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to stay with him. Staying with him. Staying along for the ride. I'm going to pick Trayshawn.
So, yeah, we pretty much have our boys against each other in the finals. We see how it is here and what's going to be 4 weeks.
It's crazy how it's actually like a reasonable possibility, too. Like, that's not even just us.
Josh, we know our shit, bro. We know our shit. We're here for a reason.
We are the 58th ranked MMA podcast on Apple for a reason, motherfuckers.
And rising.
And rising. We're only moving up in the world.
But yeah, just to give you an idea right now, since I can see it, where is it at? Trayshawn Gore was picked 4th. Brian Battle was picked 8th. Just to give you an idea where these guys are at, early on in the season. Where is he at? Trayshawn Gore was also picked 4th with Gilbert. And then where is it at? And Andre was picked 2nd. Neither of the first rounders made it into the second round. Mitch and Daniel. So there is that. And obviously Vince was picked 7th. And Ricky was picked 5th. So none of the first rounders stayed in it. One of the last picks is still in it. None of the second rounders are in it either. Actually, no, the second rounder is in there. None of the third round. No, Ludwig's in there. I forgot about Ludwig. So yeah. So we got a decent spread of guys who are in there, but none of the first round picks are in there anymore. So that's kind of crazy.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. But as far as tough goes, man, anything else before you want to go ahead and move on?
Nothing in particular, man. It's just like those last couple fights, man, were real good, honestly. Like I said, for my money, the bantamweights have been the best this season. I really do hope the middleweights come out and show out this next time because this is the point where you really have to let it out, man, and really finish these guys because obviously the season's done for the people who don't know this, but we hope that obviously they come out and perform.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. And look, we still got more combat sports, guys. This is a combat heavy week. Very, very combat heavy.
Doesn't end.
It's heavy, Moving on. Bkfc 19. Bkfc, we've not talked about them in a fat minute, my guy. But they have like a card that you almost can't turn away from. I'm a comedian. Anyways, so this one's very interesting for a multitude of reasons. Fight-wise, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, whenever you're watching bare knuckle fighting, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's not the highest skill level. A lot of these guys are older dudes past their prime. I mean, look at the champs. Like Hector Lombard is cruiserweight champ. Luis Palomino, lightweight. Thiago Alves, middleweight. Like so on and so forth. Joey Beltran is their heavyweight champion.
Joey Beltran. Yeah, dude, what's it called? Like I said, Dan Nguyen, who's like, 30, almost 40? He used to be a pro boxer, like actually a pretty good pro boxer, too.
Yeah.
Is it Dan? I forget his first name. I know his last name is Nguyen. Can't think of it right now.
Yeah, me either.
But yeah, he's another one of their champs that I just want to name. Who you're right. I just wanted to, make your point about them being on the older end.
Yeah. But as far as it goes, man, yeah, it's you kind of know what you're getting into with this sort of thing. But at the same time, man, it's so weird, right? It's such a weird thing, and it's very, very interesting to me. So BKFC 19 going down, and they've, let's be honest, the real big buzz in boxing lately has been celebrity fights, like crossover fights, stuff like that. So we're getting that, and then we're also getting, I mean, in the words of the main event, you come for the fight. What is it? You like. I don't remember what she said. Something along the lines of like, you come for the boobs, you stay for the fights. Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich, neither one of these women are very good at fighting. Like, it's just not very good at all.
Well, at the highest level.
At the highest level. I mean, Paige Van Zandt, obviously, she fought in the UFC for a couple of years there. And she was at one time she was pretty good, actually. Before all the injuries started piling up, she was like top 10 material. Notably after knocking out Beck Rawlings. But she had some injuries. She ended up being released. She lost 3 of her last 4 fights. The one win was over Rachel Ostovich. Rachel Ostovich was never even in that sort of top 10. She was never even ranked in the UFC. She currently has a record of 4-6 as an MMA fighter, but she's known for her looks, honestly. So, and so now BKFC is taking on this interesting spin where they're having couple of influencer fights, and then they're having Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich. They're really just honestly using their sex appeal to sell this entire card. I've been covering MMA for like the last couple of years now. I've never seen any promoter attempt anything like this just because it's so weird.
But they're doing it.
I mean, what are your thoughts first of all on the promotion, and then what are your thoughts about the fight itself?
I mean, I think it's a pretty smart move. Not gonna lie to you. Like I said, I feel like the real sleeper thing is the fact that they're having like actual rapper and Blueface fighting. Kind of the fact that like, how the rapper world is. These guys all know kind of each other. They kind of especially in the rap world where there's beef and stuff like that. Blueface could bring in a couple names that maybe BKFC wouldn't get any other way if they didn't have him on the card fighting and being like, hey, I'm out here, and like. If these guys are really about it, because, these people are, on the street and street life and street culture and obviously, standing up for yourself and fighting, can be one of those things. And him being on this card could be, I feel like it's not being highlighted as much as what it could potentially be and what it could bring to BKFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, the Blueface thing has really gone under the radar. Honestly, it has a lot. But they are doing those couple of influence fights. He's fighting a TikTok kid whose name I can't remember.
I don't know any of these TikTok guys on this card, by the way. No offense.
Me neither. I don't know them at all. But
I know we sound like fucking boomers here, dude. We don't know who they are.
I mean, we knew the YouTube guys though. We knew the YouTube versus TikTokers card. We knew like a lot of people on there. I don't know who any of these people are. Like it's just
no idea.
But they got Keemstar commentating. Like
They either have Fuzi there too.
Yeah, they got food. This is such a weird event, bro. It is very, very strange. It is very, very strange. And I feel like they're trying to like capture like a lot of like the younger audience, which is just it's so strange, man. The fact that BKFC is even still like a real thing is still surreal to me. Which lets people go in there and fight with no gloves. Like it's still weird.
I mean, hey, it was gonna happen eventually. You know, they do it in Russia all the time.
That's true. Well, I mean, in
and
Russia,
it's not sanctioned. They just do it.
In Russia, they have the K. I think it was M1 that had it, where like there's like night fighting.
What the fuck?
You never heard about this?
I know how it looks because I've seen it, but I didn't know that M1 did this, especially because M1's like a legit thing, you know?
Yeah, man. But this is probably BKFC's biggest card of the year.
Oh, come on, Josh. You don't think Hector Lombard's going to pull more numbers for that?
Well, it's either that or Page's first card. I mean, they did a very smart move by them by signing Page. I feel like it's a good fit, honestly. Like, I never really thought it at the time. Like, but like, even, I mean, Page is not very good at bare knuckle fighting, but very few people are. Like, even people that win, it's like, it's tough, dude. Like, it's really, really tough.
But you come out looking like shit.
Exactly. They come out looking like shit. But yeah, man. I mean, as far as it goes, that's pretty much all I got for this. That's all I got. I just thought it was such it's an interesting topic that I wanted to bring up just because it's so weird, the sort of promotion that BKFC is doing for this whole thing.
And they come out looking like barbed wire. Like they went through barbed wire, dude.
Facts. Coming out looking like fucking Mick Foley, like in the fucking early 2000s WWE.
Oh, man.
So as far as that goes, that's all I got for that. But you guys have more boxing to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight is a daily fantasy sports gaming website for the casual sports fan that is simple, fun, and easy to play. You determine which superstars competing in the day's professional sporting events, record more or less than the contest line provided. Monkey Knife Fight's daily fantasy prop games play similar to salary cap daily fantasy sports games without the algorithms, lines, most importantly, sharks. There are several contests to choose from, none of which require hours of research required on competing sites. Start with a simple 2-for-2 or go for the highest payouts up to 100 times and higher by selecting an 8-for-8 more or less contest. Get started now with a 100% instant match bonus up to $50 with promo code Courtside. Obviously, we can use it for the UFC, we can use it for baseball, use it for hockey, use it for anything, ladies and gentlemen. Code Courtside. Angel, last segment of the show, man. We're going to do some quick hitters. Rank these fights 1 to 10. Just give me your interest level.
Oh, 10. Wait, just like like give a rating 1 through 10.
Yeah, 1 through 10.
Because you said rank, I'm like, just about to tell me 10 fights. God damn.
No, I meant like I fucked up. I meant like give like
God, rank you fucking idiot. Where are you at?
But we can go ahead and start off with the one that's not official, not yet anyway. But who knows? It's looking like it may happen.
Is it like? Is it hype quality? Can you like?
We'll go how much you're looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and start off first. Anderson the Spider Silva, coming off of his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. last month, may soon be in the ring once again. His opponents, the one and only Maverick Logan Paul, who's coming off of his no contest against Floyd Mayweather. I'm not sure if it's no contest, no result. I'm not sure what the technical thing is in the commission, but whatever. Look, man, this one came out of nowhere, but apparently it's been confirmed that both sides have interest and it may be happening. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
7.5, because you asked for my rating.
7.5. That's higher than I thought it was going to be, man. What exactly intrigues you about it? Because to me, this one really...
It's Anderson, dude. That's literally what it is, and just how fun he looked in his last fight and how much he enjoyed it, and the fact that he didn't get beat on, and this is obviously a winnable fight for him. So yeah.
Fair enough, man. I mean, that's a bit higher than I would have expected, but at the same time, I could see your point. Personally, I'm more at about a 7, probably, honestly, just because like this is going to be.
Hey, we're really close to each other, man. 0.57. The fuck's the difference, man?
Yeah, I mean this. Oh no, I'm just like I'm surprised that like you kind of are still interested in it. Personally, man, like I'm at a 7, maybe 6.5, just because like this is a very easy payday for Anderson, and I said it on Twitter. I'm like, this man has not been relevant in MMA, like in a competitive sense. Because obviously he's been around in the game, it's been a draw, but he's not been relevant in a competitive sense in almost a decade. He just got cut from the UFC. He got cut from the UFC, man. And I'm sure you probably forgot this because I did too. You can go back and look at UFC cut him. Bellator, won. Bkfc, all put out press releases stating they didn't want to sign Anderson Silva. Like, they all said it outward that they had no interest, which
it's a good thing.
Holy shit. Like, the disrespect to a legend. So he moves over to boxing. He pulls off this massive upset, and now here he is at the age of 46. He might get a massive multi-million dollar payday, and for what is honestly pretty easy work. Like, if it's Chavez, huh?
Do your thing, champ.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, if Chavez, it's much really to shit on Chavez. I mean, in a real fight, like 12 rounds, Chavez probably shits on Logan.
Yes.
we just saw Anderson tool him up. So I mean, that's gonna be an easy payday. I can't believe Logan was the favorite when the betting line was announced. He
went the distance with Floyd, bro.
He went the distance. I mean, he got his ass kicked for about 6 out of 8 of those rounds, but still, he did go the distance. Yeah, man. As far as it goes, I'm probably around a 6.5 or 7. Next one up, Oscar De La Hoya, Vitor Belfort. This one was confirmed, but now we have a date, a location, and more news, man. Triller Fight Club, obviously putting this one on. Triller Fight, I think it's Triller Legends or something. Mm-hmm. It's like the tagline. It said it's the most anticipated fight of the decade. But yeah, Oscar De La Hoya obviously making his return for the first time in 13 years. He's going to be a 180-pound catch weight. It was supposed to be an exhibition. Now, Angel, this one's going on the records.
I know.
This one's for real, my man. Vitor's 1-0 in pro boxing with a knockout win back in 2006. It's going to be happening September 11th in LA. What are your thoughts about the fight, man?
It's rating, I give it like a 7 fights. It's interesting. It's another one of those like weird freak show kind of matchups, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll keep it simple. Yeah, that's probably the way I put it.
Fair enough, man. I'm reasonably at like, look, this is fast food for me. This is like, I know I'm gonna hate myself for watching it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm firmly at a 7.5 on this one, my man. I'm firmly invested in this storyline. Oscar is complete and utter just delusional. He is. I feel like Oscar legit. I feel bad for him sometimes, man, because like he's obviously had a bunch of addiction issues, and like I'm not sure. Did you watch him on like Mike Tyson's podcast?
No.
Yeah, he opened up a lot, man, about like how miserable he was in retirement, and like I'm happy that he's training again.
Sounds like a lot of fighters.
Yeah, and it's like it's one thing, but like look, fight Vitor, fight an other older dude, fight Chavez Jr. after this. Don't talk about Canelo, bro. Like, don't talk about Canelo. Don't talk about Triple G. Don't talk about Floyd.
How old is Vitor right now?
Vitor is 43.
How old is
Oscar's 47.
I mean, that could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. I mean, it's not. Mike and Roy were 54 and 51, I think.
Hey, they put on a show though.
They did though, and I think it's probably similar. It's gonna be. I like the fact that it's a real fight that's gonna go down on the records, but it's still 2 rounds. 2-minute rounds.
How many rounds?
8 rounds, 2 minutes for each round. Because that's the same thing that I think Mike and Roy was, and that was a lot of fun. Because like it gave enough rounds to like give you something, but also because there's only 2-minute rounds, like they were able to like expend more like without getting super winded by like round 5 or whatever. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm into it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I'm a lot more interested than a lot of other people are, but. It is what it is. Lastly, Canelo, man, making his return. Caleb Plant sent for September 18th. What are your thoughts?
8.5 rating. It's, obviously if he wins that fight, he unifies the titles and, he's fucking king of the division, man. Obviously, I want to see that fight happen. And, hey, man, if Caleb Plant is good, and Caleb Plant comes out and wins, obviously that's a big fucking deal. So, I mean, it's kind of, and obviously anytime Canelo's fighting, that's a massive fight.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. There were rumors that apparently it looks like this fight was not going to get made. Apparently it's about to be finalized. Apparently it was looking like they were actually not even going to do Triple G, the trilogy, which I would have been. I mean, I mean, that wouldn't probably, I don't think that would be that competitive at this point in time. I would have given that one probably around a 9.5, just because I'm so invested in those two dudes, just like both of them individually. I am going to give this probably an 8, though. I'm a big fan of Canelo. Obviously, literally everybody is. He's pound for pound number 1 in the world, future GOAT contender. And Caleb Plant, I don't think he's going to have much for him, but obviously he's going to try and unify the belts. Caleb's still good enough for me to be interested, man. So I'm going to give it an 8, solid 8. But as far as that goes, man, that's all the fights we got. As far as that goes, is there anything else you want to go ahead and talk about before we close out?
No, nothing specifically, man. I think we got through everything pretty well. There's a lot to talk about, and next week's gonna be a little rough, but we'll get through it.
For sure, man. For sure. Next week's card, it's rough, but we'll figure it out. We hope you guys liked this week. We appreciate all the support. Our YouTube's been blowing the fuck up. So I just got to go ahead and say thank you to everybody who's subscribed on YouTube. We hit 750 subscribers. I believe we also hit 30,000 views on there as well. So that's been phenomenal. We've appreciated all the supports. And as always, I'm at Josh Evanoff. He's at Angel Ortega _01 at Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter for all things about the show. That's all we got. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.